my floor in my apartment, and I didn't have any drugs, money, or access to either. But what I did have was a lot of pain, like a lot of pain. And I remembered that I had some old dried up acrylics, and this is like a 20-year span I passed where I had not painted, but I had these acrylics that were all dried up, and I had this ripped piece of cloth canvas thing, and I just laid on my floor and just scratched out this painting. And it was around the time that Philip Seymour Hoffman committed suicide, and I'm very good friends with his brother at the time. And this painting kind of was the embodiment of all of that pain, kneeling at the altar of the drugs. It became my religion, it became my God, it became my breath. And that becomes a lot for everyone. I think that, we do still have the razor blade here. This crack pipe is actually the crack pipe I used that day. And I wanted just to kind of embody just not just crack itself, but the various elements or elements of drugs and addiction. I wanted to put, I don't know, I was like in a really fucked place here. But the halo, the sun, the halo is the sun. Because one of the things that really kind of embodied my life in the darkest of my times was a sense of faith. I know that I was always cared for by something bigger than myself. And no matter how deep down into the addiction that I got, there was always God there. So this again was about this, it was exactly the time Hoffman killed himself. So whatever the face initially was morphing into kind of became a combination of his face and representing the pain of so many of us. And it's not just about crack or drugs, it's also, because I shot a series kind of to document my relapse, and it's called Cracks. It's a photo series that we're gonna do here, but it's gonna be an immersive experience. It's about everything, because we all have our crack. We all have that something that binds us. So it's not about just that. And I see that because I grew up in Hempstead, Long Island. I was telling my friend Michael, who's an incredible artist and model himself, earlier today how, I grew up as a Cosby kid. I was a Huxtable kid. My mother was a single black parent. She sacrificed and fought to give me a life of like an upper middle class kid. We were poor, but I was a bougie little black kid in Long Island. And I turned my nose down to people if you looked a certain way, if you didn't smell right, if you didn't go out to the city to get your nails and toes done. What homelessness and addiction gave me was a sense of humility and humanity. But so we all have our crack. The series I shot, actually, right after I finished painting this piece, I just ratted myself out to everyone, including my job, which is about to fire me. And I checked myself into a sober living in LA. My job gave me time off. I had nothing else to do. I was named from the photo series. I was named as one of the 40 black artists to watch in the Brio. And then I started posting, like I was in rehab, and so I would paint and I would post a picture that I painted, like, shits and giggles. I wasn't thinking anything of it. And somebody purchased my first painting for $250. I was like, how much? You really? For real? Okay. And then from there, I had 2 solo shows in LA, and from there I had my opening in New York, and from there, interviews, and from there, documentaries were made about me. And so it kind of evolved. I don't want to say escalated, but evolved to coming back here. I moved back to New York 2.5 years ago. And I remember as the plane was descending into JFK, I looked out of the window and I said, within a month, I want to show in a restaurant and in a gallery. The restaurant I was showing at, and am showing at, now curating, is in Brooklyn. It's called Cheryl's Global Soul. And my friends across the street at the Harlem Haberdashery, Louis, told me about this place. And I came up to Harlem and I just happened to have my portfolio with me, and just happened to be kind of cute that day. And met the then curator, and Maria, this was my home for some time. You know, I cannot overstate how humbled and how grateful I am for this life. From the picking out of the garbage can in Penn Station for the piece of pizza that guy dropped in, running for his train, to the $10 blowjobs, to being here today with you fine folks. You know, the evolution of our life, and particularly we were talking about this earlier, everything lends itself to the aspect of art. Art is a spiritual conversation. Particularly now living in this advanced form of technology where people post stuff, you know, for clicks and all this stuff. And, you know, people become famous and billionaires over sex tapes. No shade to the Kardashians. No shade to the Kardashians. I'm sorry. I hope none of y'all know or friends. But you know what I'm saying. And we find ourselves right now in a very precarious time in our species' existence. You know,
talk about it.
You think about great works of art that affect and speak to the artist, to the masses, to the spirit, the thing that intrinsically connects us together. That is what art is to me. And again, when I introduce myself, I say my name is Sage Gallen. I am an artist, and I guess that's why. Because for me to speak that is for me to say we are all connected.